Welcome to Behind the Headlines. I'm Lee Pacchia. Last week, book retailer Barnes & Noble announced that PIN pad devices in 63 stores were hacked in an attempt to steal customers' payment card information. The company has since been sued by a customer over possible theft of her personal data. Joining me now to discuss is Lisa Sotto, managing partner for Hunton Williams' New York office and renowned expert on all things related to privacy law. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very much, Lee.
Is this just life in the modern world? These privacy issues and data breaches seem to be coming up quite a bit. What to make of it?
It is life in the modern world. These events really started coming to the fore in 2005 as a result of a California law that required that people notify, that companies notify individuals where there was a data security incident that impacted their data. Since then, we've been hearing about many, many security breaches. Now, a number of those are innocuous, but others are malicious.
Where does this one fall?
This is certainly a malicious attempt, specifically seeking people's data for the purpose of committing account fraud on their payment cards.
Now, before we jumped on the program, we were talking about these PIN pad devices. Now, in Europe, they apply for credit card and debit card. Here, we just use them for debit. Got me wondering, is this a problem specific to America? I don't really read a lot about big data breaches abroad, especially in Europe. Do they have a better system than we do?
Yeah, it's a good question. The real answer to that is that in the United States, we have security breach notification laws in 46 states and 4 other jurisdictions, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, D.C., and Puerto Rico. So we have requirements virtually everywhere in the U.S. to notify people when their data has been compromised. Those same laws generally are not in place in Europe, with some notable exceptions like Germany.
Why did Barnes & Noble's have this event happen to them? Did they do anything wrong, or is this just something that can't quite be prevented?
Yeah, the fact is, in most cases, companies are not doing anything wrong. There is, of course, human error, for example, where an Excel spreadsheet may be sent out to the wrong vendor and social security numbers of employees may be on it. So that happens. But these types of events are highly sophisticated, carefully orchestrated, often a question of organized crime rings coming together to do this. And the criminals who are doing this are creative and highly motivated.
So we're talking about data from 63 stores. Presumptively, that's a lot of people who had their personal information compromised. What does the liability picture look like for the company here?
Yeah, generally when these events occur, there are notification requirements, as I said, in most jurisdictions in the United States. So companies that suffer a data compromise need to notify the individuals whose data was breached. They also, in many cases, need to notify state attorneys general. So you're essentially raising a red flag with the authorities to say we've had a data compromise. In addition to that, now we are certainly seeing many, many class actions follow these sorts of events. As you noted, there is already one for Barnes & Noble.
And in that suit, it was alleged that the company waited 6 weeks to disclose the breach. Is that too long?
Yeah, that's an age-old question, age-old being the last 5 years, because this is such a new area.
Age-old in this sense.
Exactly. So the answer is no, it's really not too long. It's very difficult in some of these circumstances to figure out what happened, the scope of the breach, and which individuals were impacted. So in my experience, it can take months to figure out all of the parameters that you need to know before you go out and notify the public. So, depending on how quickly you can get to the heart of the matter, it may well not be too long at all.
Generally speaking, how long is too long?
Well, the state laws have requirements that you notify in the most expedient time possible and without unreasonable delay. And then there are a few states that impose 45-day requirements to notify individuals. Too long depends on how complex the breach is. There are some security incidents that are enormously complex that require 50 or 60 or 70 forensic investigators on site, and others are very simple. It's easy to figure out within a 2 or 3 week period which individuals were impacted. Go ahead and draft the letters, send them the letters, draft the letters to the states, and you're done with it. But for anything that reaches any level of complexity, it could take literally months to figure out what happened.
Sounds pretty gray. You represent lots of big clients in dealing with these types of issues. What are you telling them these days?
Well, all we can do is tell them to impose structure on their information security. Make sure they're putting in place physical, technical, and administrative safeguards to try to protect the data. Make sure they have policies and procedures in place, they're abiding by them, and they're training their employees. That's so critical because employees, any weak link in the chain could really lead to catastrophic circumstances. So it's very important that employees be sufficiently aware of the various data breach issues and cybersecurity issues that could arise.
Are you finding firms are taking a more proactive approach, or is this something that tends to keep catching people by surprise?
Yeah, unfortunately, many people come to seek guidance after an event has occurred. I always say that a small breach has a silver lining because if it's a small breach that's manageable, a small hacking event that's manageable, that forces people to pay attention. It forces senior management to focus on this, and then they get the IT group or the chief privacy officer or the chief information security officer gets the resources that they need to manage this going forward and to really shore up their systems.
All right, Lisa Sotto on privacy law. Thanks so much for stopping by today.
Thank you very much.
If you'd like to learn more about the cases and issues we just discussed, be sure to check out our offerings on BloombergLaw.com and also on the Bloomberg Terminal. You can see more of our videos on YouTube, and you can follow our updates on Twitter. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.